How's it going, crypto community? So, I thought long and hard about how to start this video addressing the big bear in the room, or CKJ, I guess, since, that's who we're talking about here. So, a lot of people said, what evidence do we have that CKJ said all the terrible things that he said? Well, first, if you don't believe the pictures, if you think that if you trust CKJ that those pictures were photoshopped, then explain this chat here, right? Where Carl is just scrolling casually through all the messages he tweeted out that are being claimed to be photoshopped, right? They're not photoshopped. They're right there in front of you on the screen as he's scrolling through. If you believe that this can be video edited to look so amateur yet still be modified, I would really like somebody to explain that process, because that I would be so impressed if Carl had that degree of video and photoshopping skills, right? That's impressive stuff. If I can spot CGI in a multi-million-dollar film, I think I'd spot it if Carl here was video editing his responses, right? That would be pretty obvious, you'd feel. Now, I'm sorry that came off very aggressive, but I'm receiving quite a bit of flack from multiple angles regarding the CKJ video that I did, where I didn't take a stance. So now I'm making my stance, and unfortunately, because I've been pressured by my community, many members, to really clarify my position, I feel obligated now to clarify before we really have the smoking gun identified, right? Well, at least I think that we don't have the smoking gun. But this next little bit I'm going to show you could be considered such, right? So, Sam I Am, Green Eggs and Ham, on Twitter, tweeted yet last night, to all concerns, questions around the St. Jude's fundraiser have been resolved and rectified. As a result, CKJ Crypto News has donated an additional 800 XRP to St. Jude's from the Super Chat donations. Thank you to everyone who helped push for this resolution. So CKJ replies, "Thank you, King Blue and Green Eggs and Ham, helping kick cancer ass with XRP and with the XRP community is an honor. It comes with a lot of responsibility. My records suck. I have made mistakes, but happy to clear this up. Problem solved. Much love. St. Jude's paid in full." Right? Well, here's the problem, CKJ. You had to be called out as a scammer. You had to be called out as having not been current on what you had promised would go to St. Jude's. And as such, you made this last minute guilty, conscious effort to make everybody happy, because as long as you're current, as long as you're paid in full, everything's good, right? Now, to those who are saying, "Oh, well, that's probably just the XRP from this May broadcast. It's not going until June." No, ladies and gentlemen, because his live stream today, which you can go back and watch, he after going over this says, "And on June 22nd, when I get that YouTube, the super donations cleared, I'll be putting that in too, and you can count on it," or whatever it is that he said, to whatever, however he worded it, however CKJ's words came out of his mouth. That was the sentiment behind it. So we know that he was behind on this donation. And it wasn't a small amount. 800 XRP? That's almost $400. That's almost $400 that he had sitting there in his pocket that was supposed to go to cancer research at St. Jude's, and it was just sitting in CKJ's pocket. And he's like, "Oh, it wasn't no big deal, I was only holding on to $400 that I owed to this charity for 3 months prior to being called out as a scammer and this coming to light, and then therefore forcing me to make this donation before St. Jude's comes down my ass with a lawsuit." Because that's what was going to happen, right? He can sit there and claim that it was all just a mistake, mistakes were made, I'm bad at record keeping, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, I watched your streams, CKJ. I watched the last, ever since this started becoming an issue, I've been watching your live streams, just hoping for you to show some degree of humility. But even in this latest live stream where you are sitting there repeating literally this line, my records suck, I've made mistakes, but we're paid in full, we're good, I told you guys, I'm an honest guy, it is just an honest mistake. No, it wasn't, CKJ. And the quote that you read on your stream today regarding an individual's actions defining them, how somebody responds to their behavior. When you make a bad decision, the decision doesn't define you. It's the actions you take after that poor decision that define you. And your actions defined you as a scammer, as a dishonest individual, as somebody who has more arrogance than respect for not only his community, but also the greater ecosystem that he is taking part of, right? So again, this is a very aggressive video compared to what you're probably used to from me, but at the end of the day, CKJ is a scammer. CKJ is untrustworthy. CKJ attempted to defraud a charity and only rectified it when we, his community, went after him and said, have you been honest, CKJ? And now the question is, how will you, as a CKJ supporter, if you are, handle this knowledge I've shared with you? Will you reject it and call me an idiot and say I don't have proof, even though I've shared with you proof, and also circumstantial proof that proves that not only was he just being a jackass towards everybody, just in it for himself, only here to promote himself and didn't care who he took down, through what horrible ways he wanted to try and take people down, to try and make them a non-threat to him, right? CKJ, I'm sorry. I was a huge supporter for nearly a year, maybe even over a year. I think I've followed you. You're one of the people I've followed the longest in the XRP community, and for you to, try and act like we're all just out here trying to, monopolize on you and bring you down because you're the biggest and best. No, you're not. DAI is the best. Sorry. He's the best in our XRP community, and I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me on that, right? Like, I have a lot of respect for a lot of people in this community, and I've communicated with a lot of the content creators in this community, but I still put DAI, Digital Asset Investor, at the top of that list because his content is on point all the time, and he keeps it concise but still somehow manages to inject something of worth into each of his videos, even though he keeps them short and concise, right? That's why he's the first person you see on my Standing on the Shoulders of Giants. That's why, I am doing the formats that I am, because I am replicating the things that I see successful in the people who I admire, right? And I'm not out here to bring them down, right? I'm out here to promote those people, as I just did. I'm a nobody on YouTube, and I'm still promoting these big XRP channels that I'm sure all of you already know about. But I'm talking about them because I don't see this as a competition. My competition, the competition I see, is which crypto is going to win. And this kind of petty nonsense that everybody saw as petty, that turned into something really serious really quick, this is damaging. This can hurt your investment. This is why we have to talk about it. This is why we have to address the bear in the room, as he is, and really end this, and really take this as a community as a turning point for us, right? We need to stop enabling people who are just out there to get an emotional rise out of you as an investor, because it's not healthy for you, it's not healthy for our investment, it's not healthy for anyone. It's not healthy for anyone, the things that have transpired over the last week, and the kind of content that I've been spending most of my time on here debunking, right? and trying to show people that even though this is debunked, there's still good things there. And even though this is debunked, there's still amazing things happening with Ripple XRP. It's as if everybody's focused on these stupid short-term, we're going to $1 billion XRP price. Whatever stupid price you want to put on top of it, all right? We're going to make a lot of money in this space if you're patient, right? I can feel the anger in my tone because of how frustrating this situation is, right? So I want you as my viewer to understand that I'm not like angry with you or with some of the comments that I received from people in regards to CKJ. It's anger at this situation that we have to even talk about this. That this is something that even happened, right? That is what has me so angry right now, because I know as soon as I post this video, there's going to be somebody that unfollows me because of it, because they're more dedicated to an ideology, to an individual, than they are to facts, to rational thought, and to just looking at things through a non-emotionally charged lens. Again, I know that I'm emotionally charged in this response, but it's by and large out of frustration for the fact that I wasn't permitted to wait until, everything really just kind of settles down. I don't like drama. I don't want to engage in drama. This channel is not supposed to be for drama, right? It's supposed to be for XRP. It's supposed to be for us looking forward to our future, our very bright future, as early adopters of perhaps the greatest financial wealth transfer that has ever occurred. And you're smack dab in the middle of it. And instead of talking about that, we now have to talk about some shady streamer who couldn't be honest despite the massive amount of attention he had been given already, right? The massive amount of money that he's made from his channel from donations alone, and yet that wasn't enough. He had to go and try and pocket $400 from a charity until we as a community called him out for it, and then he's like, "Hey, see, I did it. I'm paid up in full." No, you're not paid up in full. If you had been paid up in full, you wouldn't have donated the additional 800 XRP to St. Jude's. That's what incriminates you. That's what shows that we can't trust you. All right? And I'm sorry to anybody that is CKJ supporter. Still, it's your choice. Ultimately, what you do with your time, who you choose to trust, is your choice, and my video is not going to mean a damn bit of difference. But that said, maybe that's why it's important for me to post this, because if you're a CKJ supporter and you aren't willing to acknowledge these facts, then to be completely frank, I don't really care if you are following me and subscribe to me, because you're not the kind of person that I'm interested in engaging with. You're not somebody who's willing to approach this market rationally and to observe facts as they're presented before you, right? So it is what it is, I guess. It is unfortunate that this is how things turned out. I really did have a large degree of hope that CKJ was, that somehow this was just a conspiracy against CKJ. Like, I really had hoped. I didn't have faith that that was going to be the case because everything seemed pretty damning out the gate, but I still had hope that maybe this is just him. Maybe he's just an asshole. There's a lot of assholes out there. There's a lot of assholes in the streaming community even. But no, he's not just an asshole. He's a scammer and a fraudster. And that's why I'm now bringing this video giving a hard stance. CKJ, he's a scammer. This was not a hit piece. This was legitimate. And now we have evidence based upon him trying to make things right after the fact, after being exposed. So, that's been my opinion. This has been Jade Martian. I'm really regretting sharing this, and I really hope that this isn't the video that makes you subscribe to me. I'd really hope that, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed my perspective, just hit the like, but then go watch my other videos first, before you hit that subscribe, before you ring that bell. Because I want you to understand this is not the kind of content I want to be creating for you. I want to keep content focused on the development of, again, the asset we're investing in. So I really hope this can be the last video I do on CKJ, and to be honest, I don't care if CKJ's channel does survive after all is said and done from this, and people try and argue what I'm stating here, right? Because what I'm stating here is straight up fact. Hi there, Brave browser. Apologies, guys. But again, what I've shared is just facts, and you can be upset with the facts. I'm upset with the facts. But at the end of the day, the facts are the facts, and so as grown-ups, as big boys and girls, we have to put on our big boy, big girl pants and accept those facts with a healthy dose of salt, right? Because it is salty. I do feel salty because I've been betrayed. And as if you are a CKJ viewer, I hope that you feel that same betray that I feel, so that you understand why I've engaged with this in the emotional context I have. I can't help it, right? Like, I tried doing a breathing exercise before I even started this video, and that's why I'm going to just share my raw emotional cut of how I really feel about this. And I hope that, most of you who are subscribed to me can accept my opinion, even if you don't agree with what I've shared here, if you don't agree with my perspective, that's fine. But let's just drop this, right? Let's just have this be the end of it and move on to going back to XRP news. It's pretty clear that CKJ is done. His comments section, his likes versus dislikes, it's pretty clear that the only reason people are tuning into him at all right now is just for the little hope that he was going to turn over a new leaf. But the reality is that now that we know that he downright committed fraud and tried to make up for it by sending the funds he had not yet sent to St. Jude's, that's all I needed. And it doesn't matter that all the petty stuff anymore, and it doesn't matter that he's come out and apologized, because now I know he defrauded a charity, and he might not get stuck with a lawsuit about it because he's made the attempt to pay it forward before that even became an issue, but the fact still stands, he attempted to, and his attempt was only thwarted by Sam I Am, Carl Bethel, James Malpass. The list goes on and on of the individuals who worked to bring this out to the light. And even though, Carl did betray CKJ's trust, I think that many of us need to keep in mind that what Carl did was ultimately for the good of the ecosystem as a whole, because what he did was show our whole community the snake that had been hiding under a rock in plain sight, right? So I've already given my outro, and I just keep going on, but I'm legitimately hurt by this, and I'm sorry to everybody else that's been hurt by this. I wish this pain wasn't here, but it's here, and we have to figure out a way to deal with it, each our own. So, as always, this has been Jade Martian, and I look forward to seeing you on Mars.